How can you use self-hypnosis to trick your mind into getting more success? Or how did I use that? Because it is a story about me this time. Or more specifically, the things I used to develop those skills myself. The first big problem you have probably encountered if you are new to this thing is that people report not going deep or not being hypnotized in the beginning when they listen to hypnotic tracks on YouTube or things like that, or meditation tracks they have bought on some site. They report, oh, I am not getting hypnotized, or it doesn't work. The first concept to understand is the trance ability. Everyone has a trance ability. People who are artists usually dive deeper, faster into trance because they are used to get into some parallel thinking in the realm of their unconscious mind to create all the things they are creating. If you are not used to that, it may be trickier in the beginning, or if you have faced in your life very difficult things and you have some shell that built up around your emotions to protect you, in those cases it might be more difficult in the beginning to let go and let your mind be guided into trance because you may have like wounds protected and you don't want to let go of control. That can happen. If it is your case, no problem. It is what drives most people in therapy anyway, so it works even with that. The only thing is that watch on this graph in the beginning, yes, it is difficult. It might be difficult in the beginning, not for everyone, but it might be difficult because your mind is too busy. Your mind has too many thoughts, too many things. The number of times you are going to use to do self-hypnosis or to practice meditation or anything of that sort, the more likely you will get into trance faster, deeper, and you will be able to have much more of the rejuvenating aspects of the trance process. In the beginning, it might require a qualified, competent hypnotist to hypnotize you, and it might take like 30 minutes, 1 hour just to get you into trance. When you have been going into trance 5, 10 times, it is just very easy and you let yourself go down, even in situations that may be a bit stressful. I'm not talking here about very top high-stakes situations, but situations where you have some worries in your mind, and even despite that, you will be able to switch off those worries and get down into a soothing and relaxing trance after you have been practicing enough times. The very first training I experienced with the trance process was by purchasing and listening all the tracks from this website at hypnotica.org. It is some things about masculinity, dating, seduction, and becoming a bit more assertive into the way you are interacting with others, I would say. And I don't have any affiliation with Eric. I don't even know what he's doing right now, what he's up to. I can just say his stuff works a lot. So that's what I joined in the beginning. I just listened to those tracks many times at some periods, maybe like once per day. I was listening to some things he had for building up self-confidence. It definitely increased my level. I was just feeling more assertive in general, in life in general. I was struggling much less stressed out. One of the biggest benefits is I was starting to hold eye contact with anyone at any time without any insecurity or nervousness. This was completely gone out of my head, out of my life for good. I was way more firm with people, holding the frame much more effectively, stuff like that. And it's not really about becoming more confident in general. It is what happened for me because it is what I was looking for. But basically everyone is finding some different result with self-hypnosis because the biggest thing you are getting from it is based on your intention while listening. Or when you have a really strong intention, you want to change that one thing in your head, you have this anxiety about this thing about this person, this is most likely the thing you are going to solve. Even sometimes when you are not really aware of what's happening down there in your head, you may experience a change which is not the one you were looking for, but which was a change you needed much more. And we are not always aware of those things we need. We often think about the things we think we want, but we don't really question ourselves in the beginning about, okay, what is beyond that? What is deeper than that? And your unconscious mind by itself will do all the work so that once you get down in trance, some things will be taken care of without you having to force them. So in the beginning, beginning, I'm talking about Hypnotica and those tracks because in the beginning it is easier to let yourself be guided rather than having the full power concentration to put yourself in a trance by yourself on your own. It is easier in the beginning to let yourself be guided. For that purpose, I have a hypnotic track I have done myself in the description. First link, you can listen to it if you have trouble to let go and switch off your brain. Listen to that one once per day. It is a communication track with your unconscious mind where you can ask a question to your, I don't know, deeper self, or what is basically inside your head when you don't figure out something about your life, or you want some answers or find some meaning about your life or whatever. You can use that track down below. It is really easy that way. Then the second thing I used down the road to better develop that self-hypnosis skill is the book Transformation. This one, not the more recent version of Bandler, but the early one, the one from the 1976 or around that. It is a book that talks about conversational hypnosis. It is, I think, my favorite NLP book from all of them. And at the end of the book, there is a process that was used or that was developed by the wife of Milton Erickson, I think. And she was describing how she was putting herself into trance to solve her internal issues. I started using that process, which is described in the book. And this started to allow me to change things on my own without even listening to some track, without anything. Quick story, in the beginning I did not even think this would work. I read the book, I read the thing, I was like, yeah, well, meh, I don't really believe in that anyway. Then I was practicing with a friend who was into NLP too, and he read the book, he just tried, gave it a try. He said he had massive changes. And I was like, really? Just with that? It was just a very, very simple technique. Okay, so I tried it, and same thing, I had massive results. I was getting even more confident than before. I was much more relaxed with people in social situations. I was so much more at ease. It really eased up some of my defenses, some of my worries about being shut down, about not being taken seriously inside a group of people. It really helped me toward that goal. And then after 10 years down the road, the way I use self-hypnosis today, because I figured out one bias when you have built skills in yourself and you have developed a personality that is always effective and always getting successful. One trap is to stop evaluating the path you're on and just think that the answer is always more action, more success, or how to solve this, how to solve that problem. I became an extremely problem-solving thinker up to the point where I was not questioning enough the deeper desires I had and the deeper life motives and life path I was onto. So the way I use self-hypnosis now is much more by questioning what is the right path for me right now, what is a general direction I must follow, more than how to solve this problem. Because maybe the problem I want to solve right now is not the one I should solve in priority. Maybe I need to target something else rather than this problem solving thing I obsessed over for the past 2 months. Maybe I need to develop something else, and those are things my unconscious mind always tell me. And when I was resisting it, I was getting more and more alone and depressed. When I started listening to it, I started having a good life again. So the idea here is that whatever you are asking to your unconscious mind, it knows better than you. If you haven't been opening yourself, if you have been wounded, hurt, or whatever, you may have a shell of protection preventing you from really listening to those answers. One objection I got one time when I described this process to somebody was, what if you don't like the answer? What if you go down in trance and you ask to your unconscious mind a question about your life and you don't like the answer? And that will only happen if you are not deep enough. If you think you are in trance but you are still like worrying about many things and thinking about 1,000 thoughts per second, you're not really deep enough. And the way you get deep enough is, coming back to that graph, just practice more, get more used to get down into trance, and at some point it will be so relaxing and so soothing that you won't have those defense mechanisms barking back with, oh, I shouldn't do this, or you will fail at this, you will not succeed. You will not have this anymore because you will be soothed and calmed down enough. So the hypnotic track down in the description is really helping you to develop that. You can use it to recover from something difficult, to ease down your anxieties before going to bed, whatever it is, or maybe even in the morning to prepare your brain to evaluate what's going to be important for me today, what is one challenge I need to tackle, and how to develop the skills to accomplish that. All of those things, it is in the description, and you can subscribe if you have enjoyed, and I will see you pretty soon.